one room or one office in order for them to interact. And I believe in the last 6 months, we have been doing that extensively or not extensively. Okay, but the challenge that is being faced by business leaders and also the HR departments is that let me just move. Okay, is the poll survey showing at the screen? No, huh? Any one of you can just answer?
No, I can't see anything.
Yeah,
I can see anything.
you cannot see anything,
I
or
cannot. Yeah, I cannot see anything. The survey result.
oh, no survey result? Okay. So what you can see is just the screen of the title of this topic.
Yes.
Okay.
But they have like black box in the middle of your screen.
Oh, a gray box, yeah.
Yeah, gray box.
Is there any way we can? I'm just trying to get some of the assistance here to remove the gray box so that we can see the full screen. Or am I the one who have to do it? Okay, is the gray box gone?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, let's talk about the topic today. How do HR leaders and business leaders not try to keep their employees engaged in the remote environment? Basically, I believe all of us understand that it is human nature to love company. When I say love company, is not, I'm not talking about loving your company that you're working, but to love the company of other people who are, no, you want to be surrounded with people. Okay, not many people are antisocial. So in order for an organization to actually work, you need to have people who interact together, and these people have to be engaged in order for them to interact with each other. One of uh, the criteria of an effective leader is that you have to be someone who's able to command your team members to work in collaboration with each other in order for you to have a good teamwork. And then the closer, usually when people get together, they will be working very well together. But now we are talking about the challenge that we have when the challenge that we have when you have to work from different locations. Okay, and this is what the HR leaders must look into, the agility and flexibility. You have to relook or revisit into your key indicators, and also to reinforce the engagement. Okay, these are the three major things. If you were concerned about the engagement of your people and concerned about how do you keep people working at the remote or different locations engaged. Okay, I'm going to move back to, I will stop sharing so that you all can see my face. Can you see my face now? Yes, okay. Thank you, Farah. Okay, basically, when no, you work, traditionally you work together in the team, and you are very close with each other. Okay, we always say that even though we say that absence makes the heart grows fonder, okay, but then there's also another saying that out of sight is out of mind. Okay, so if you are not able to meet everyone in your team on a daily basis, some of the business leaders are having problem keeping them motivated and at the same time keeping them engaged. Okay, the difference between motivation and engagement is that people may be motivated to work, but they may not, because you provide the salary at the end of the day. But then people may not be engaged because they feel that they are being left behind, or they feel they're not part of the team and so on. So the challenge is how do you actually ensure that everyone who's working remotely is actually feeling engaged and wanting to do more than they should be doing for the benefit of the team. Okay. According to, I read an article recently. Let me just read it. There are 3 keys to developing trust that keeps engagement high. Okay. Number 1 is thanking people when they do a good job or they're doing something more than they should. Okay. Talking to people on the consistent basis, and also celebrating any any small or big achievements. Okay, and usually the leaders are doing that by having people around them. They move around, talk to the people, interact, and so on. The challenge that we are talking about today is when people are not around for you to meet. Okay, you can only meet virtually. What are the extra things that you can actually do? Okay. Okay, I'm trying to actually get the. I'm assuming that all of you who are here today are very familiar with working remotely, because you are attending this session also remotely. Okay, but there are some I would say challenges that is being faced by people who wanted to work remotely but do not have the proper infrastructure. Okay. For example, even though it's quite common nowadays for people to have laptops, okay, but there are also people who are still working on desktops that since they cannot, during the MCO period and so on, they have to use their own desktop at home. They cannot be bringing back the equipment from the office. That infrastructure for them to get online and so on is also limited. Okay, what companies can do to actually get engagement from these employees, assuming that they still have to perform their job from home, is that to provide some incentives to these people. Okay, I'm not saying that everyone will get a new laptop, all right, but work with whatever infrastructure that people already have. Companies or management of the team will have to understand the limitations of each team members. Okay, and again, I'm assuming that there is no other way you can do except for getting these people to work remotely. Okay, and I mentioned earlier on that companies or leaders will have to be more agile and more flexible. Doesn't mean that you're opening the floodgate for everyone to work from everywhere and doing whatever that they want. Okay, I know that Vishnu mentioned to me that whenever he works from home, he will be only in his Liverpool jersey and nothing else. Okay, basically, I think you can do that, right? It's just that sometimes in order for you to get people engaged, you need to provide some basic infrastructure. Okay, if let's say, for example, the employees does not have a proper internet connection, is there any way that the company can assist in doing that just for the period where the person is working remotely? And in the long run, of course, currently you won't see the payback because it means additional expenses for the company. But then in the long run, what you can do is that if a percentage of your employees are already ready to work remotely and things are working very well with these arrangements, then you can save on office space, you can save on other infrastructure that is being spent at the office. Okay, I'm sure in the long run you will be able to recoup some of the investment by putting people working from home. Okay, it's just that you need some companies need some motivation. Some companies need to be pushed into doing this, and I believe the best motivation for companies to do this was the COVID-19 virus. Okay, it beats any other proposal of the IT department or the COO of the company who wanted to have this remote work happening by just getting everyone to stay at home, and it's either you work from home or you don't. Okay, so basically talking about the new norms, this is something that you will have to start doing going forward. All right, and also when I talk about being agile and flexible, you are talking about ready to be flexible. Okay, you do not have to just allow everyone to do everything. You are being flexible in terms of setting certain rules and so on, but it doesn't. What I'm trying to say is that there are still certain policies that you can draft to make sure that people are working within certain confines, even though they are no longer being bound by coming to work at certain point of time and leaving the office at certain point of time. Okay, you can also look into certain key indicators, which I'm going to talk a bit later. Okay, but basically, I believe based on experience, not everyone is prepared to work from home. And given the opportunity and also the support from the company, some people would find working from home more beneficial to them because they don't have to travel. They are able to actually do something else at home. Maybe if they have children, toddlers and all that, instead of sending the children to babysitters, they can just take care of the children at home and so on. So there's a lot of things that employees can benefit by working from home. And if it is being supported by the company, I believe you have to have trust in the employees that even when they are out of your sight, out of your supervision, they are still committed to the work that they're supposed to do. Okay, I believe leaders and managers will have to make a shift in their mindset that not everyone who's present at work is productive, and productivity has to be gauged not based on your presence, but based on whatever that you're supposed to deliver at the end of the day. Okay, having that trust in the employees would make it easy for you to get the support from the employees in this. Okay, and I know that there are some people who will be taking advantage of the situation, not doing whatever they're supposed to do. That's where you have to set your goals differently. Okay, you cannot be setting the goals that I want you to be in the office at certain time, or I want you to be logging in at certain times. You have to work at the bigger picture where productivity are being gauged or being presented as the final result of the work of the people. And then at the same time, I think in terms of being flexible, companies, I would advise company to also consider, whenever you have people to work from home, try not to have a very rigid or standardized expectation of everyone. Okay, because if you have someone with family and school-going children, okay, the time period of 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock maybe would be the busiest time for them to get their children to school. But then after the children has gone to school, they would be able to focus to their work. As opposed to maybe someone who's single and prefer to wake up very early and start work very early. So and having the understanding of the different needs of your team members. what you can do is to actually try to understand this, provide some flexibility, but again, as I said, expect them to still deliver by the end of the day. No, every individual employee have different priorities within the day. Okay, certain times that they have to be away or something. So allow this to happen in order for you to make the employees understand that you do trust them. You know that they can be independently supervised, and that way you will get more engagement from the employees. And the moment the engagement is there, you would be able to actually sit aside and just leave everything to the employees to deliver. Okay, this is not the time for us to be looking over the shoulders of the employees all the time to ensure that they do their job. Okay, let me just share another screen, and I'm going to talk about it afterwards. Okay, the next point. Okay, I spoke about being agile and flexible just now, and the sub points of the discussion is that you vary your communication channels. Okay, not everyone comfortable with having video calls all the time, or maybe the infrastructure that they have does not allow them to have streaming of videos. So they would maybe prefer having a meeting in a different way. Okay, but of course, if you're having a team meeting, then it has to be something standardized along the way. And then I also mentioned just now about supporting the personal needs, because not everyone has the same needs. Okay, infrastructure is one example, and then if people have to purchase certain things and all that, it will be very, very good if the company can allow that. However, we know that some companies are having financial difficulties during the MCO period, and do whatever that you can do to assist. And also another thing that you may not want to forget is not everyone is well versed in technology. Okay, especially people like me. I need assistance or IT support all the time. So maybe this is the time for you to start allowing people to go for certain training sessions and all that on their own, in order for them to be able to keep up the pace with other team members or other colleagues who are not challenged with the latest technology. No? So you vary your communication channels. If maybe for some people you need to follow up through phones, WhatsApp, or other means, instead of just having video calls, something else can be arranged. Okay, and then again, when I talk about flexible arrangements, okay, for example, for certain people, they won't be able to submit their daily report at 5 every day. Maybe what you can do is to allow them to do at a different time, but as long as it meets the requirement of the team. Okay, I will stop sharing this and back to my screen. Okay, the second part of it is actually just now I mentioned about key indicators, and what can you do to actually get the employee engagement. Okay, I'm assuming that employees are you have a group of people who has to work from home. Okay, it may not be their choice. Okay, so sometimes it may be a bit difficult for you to expect them to work from home, yet still maintain the same type of KPIs or performance indicators when they are facing a lot of other challenges working from home. So I would suggest that you revisit the key indicators and try to make it fair and equitable to all team members. I know that sometimes people believe that if I belong to a team, then all of us should be getting the same KPIs. Okay, it may not be the case. It may be, you may have to tailor some of the KPI, tweak it a bit to make sure that you are actually getting the most out of the employees rather than putting them on the pressure and getting them to be more demotivated, and they will have less engagement, especially when you are not able to actually look at them every day and support them. Okay, and then I also would strongly suggest that instead of monitoring the productivity of the employees, line managers or supervisors should be either trained or should be coached to monitor the morale of the employees. Okay, especially when you can always look at or gauge the morale of the employees by looking at their face during meetings. But when sometimes when you have remote meetings through videos, people can still show a very good face, but body language sometimes don't lie. Okay, you can say yes, but in a very different way. So it is very important for business leaders to be able to monitor the morale by looking at all the cues and all those hints that you get whether the morale is going down, and try to go deeper whenever you suspect someone is having a very low morale. It can be work related, it can be personal related, because sometimes when you work from home, you work from a remote location, you get a lot of other frustration, either being distracted by the situation at home, or you have some issues with connections, whatever work that you're doing cannot be submitted on time and things like that. So try to understand the needs of the people, look at their gauge their morale, and if you believe that someone is showing a slightly low morale, very likely the engagement will be the next thing that will go down. Okay, because there are certain limits where people with low morale can continue to be engaged. Okay, so be very careful in all the hints and the subtle information that you can actually capture from their tone of voice, from the way they submit their work. If it is not as accurate as normally they would have done, try to dig further and try to find out what's the problem. Okay, and then also there is also a social disconnect. I think as easy as, for example, after you have completed the formal discussion in the teams through video calls, suddenly you have one employee just log off immediately. Okay, that can be also one indicator that the person is disconnected from the team, and very likely because of morale or engagement issue. So try to do that. And also another thing is their tardiness. Whenever you have a meeting at 10 o'clock, they will arrive 1 or 2 minutes late into the system, even though that's the only meeting that the person have to attend. Or whenever you request someone to submit certain reports or certain assignments, then it was not handed over as you expected. So that is also another indicator of a low morale. So be very careful, and then give more attention to people that you suspect having a low morale. Try to find out the problems. If the problem is something that the company can support, please give all the supports that you can. because once the employee feel that you care about them, then the engagement will come in. Okay, and again, don't assume employee being with you is a sign of high engagement. Some people don't leave because they have no other choice. Some people don't leave because they have to rely on the job, or because no, they like the friends around them. But it doesn't mean that if they have been with you for so long, they are an engaged resources in your team. Okay, they may be just a passenger in your team. So getting people engaged is difficult in the normal situation. It is being made more difficult now when you have people at different locations. So look into all this and try to try to find a solution to it by being more compassionate. Okay. And another thing that I actually noticed is that whenever you are not together, you may not be able to gauge yourself against each other. No, you may not be able to if you're just talking about clerical work in an office environment. No, you can see that people are already finishing their job and submitting their reports at the end of the day. But in the remote environment, you're on your own. Okay, so it is quite important if the supervisors or the line managers or the business leaders, it would be good if you are able to come up with some sort of a leaderboard or something that it can be electronic, where you put it whenever people log in into whatever shared system that you have, it will be showing there that okay. No, it can be as simple as people logging in on time, or people submitting certain work completion on time, or achieving certain targets and so on. So having the leaderboard has two functions actually. One is for the manager to monitor the progress of the team, because all of you are moving towards the same goals, and you can see who's lagging and who's doing okay, so that the managers will be able to do some intervention, or will be able to provide certain support and so on. And secondly, it's also important for people who are working on the remote environment to be able to know where they stand. Okay, whenever you work alone, you sometimes get dragged into other things, and you won't be able to react fast enough to go back to the pace that your team is already moving. So having something like a very simple completion board would be able to actually assist from the management point of view, as well as from the self-motivation point of view. So I am looking into this. I won't be able to share with you what I've done, but I think having a leaderboard is something that every team with a remote member must have. Okay, I'm also going to talk to you a little bit more about this at a later stage, but I think this is where I'm going to, having a roadmap where is it visible to everyone to see where they are, in order for them to catch up with the whole team. Okay, I would recommend every manager to have something similar. Okay. Now just a moment. I'm having some. Okay. I'm just going to quickly share this screen with you to recap what I have mentioned. In order for you to manage your team, what I mentioned just now is you revisit the key indicators. having a fair and equitable productivity indicators, consider individual limitation, and also monitor the morale or the pulse of the employees to see whether they are moving towards the same direction as the whole team. And the last one is to create a real-time leaderboard, which for me is something good for both the managers as well as the individuals who are working on the remote location. Okay, I will move to the next slide that I have on reinforcing engagement. Earlier on, I mentioned something about you know, thanking, talking, and celebrating. Okay, which is the basic leadership tools for you to ensure an engagement. Okay, so basically the thanking part is easier for you to do if you are not on the remote location. However, if you're on the remote location, how do you know that people really get whatever that you actually trying to mention? You can't shake their hands and so on. So the best you can do is just to make a personal phone call to thank a person. Okay, and talking is where you need to do more often and in different channels. And I'm not sure about you have to be very, very creative in celebrating. Okay, I don't know, maybe if you do have, usually you have a budget for you to have company lunch or team lunch. Maybe now what you can do is to send through Grab food to everyone just before a meeting starts, and you eat together in front of the camera. Okay, but basically celebrating and all those have to continue even when you have a remote people on the remote environment. And then another thing that I would like to recommend is to set revolving themes. Okay, when I say themes, it can be as simple as everyone wearing the same color of clothes when you have meetings, or I know of some funny ideas of having fun headgears or whatever during the meeting. It's not going to improve a lot in terms of resolving your problems in the discussion and all that, but it gives a different feeling to the people whenever they are working alone. By looking at all your friends on the screen, having all these funny headgears may help you to increase your morale. And then I also have seen in LinkedIn and Facebooks and all that some of employees feel very happy when they receive some merchandise from the company, like t-shirts, mugs, I don't know, even towels for you to use out of your working hours. But then having corporate merchandise will in a way remind the employees that they are still part of the team, even though they are sitting far away from the rest of the people. So I think consider this. And the last one that I would recommend for for managers to start is to introduce gamification. I put a comment on how there is because I have not done it myself, but from a lot of readings that I make, I think this is something that would be something that would be able to increase the morale and the engagement of your employees. Okay, I know that work is not playing games. Okay, but when you talk about working alone, okay, you need certain self-measurement. And sometimes, I take for example the gamification that I saw in Waze. Okay, whenever you normally use Waze for you to get from one place to another and knowing how fast can you get there. But then in order for people to contribute, what Waze did was to give some points and bells and whistles whenever you contribute some information, or whenever you have gone through certain milestones, you will get certain more points, even though it doesn't give you any monetary benefits. But even people like me will feel, oh, I would want to move to the next level in order for me to gain certain points, and that's talking just about waste. But then if you are able to introduce gamification in the normal work environment where people work very separately, that helps, because you see, if people can play multiplayer games with friends across the globe, okay, and feel very, very as if you are sitting next to each other, then I think this is something new that you should be able to introduce into your work environment, to make sure that having such arrangements will encourage people to work together as a team, and in a way that will increase their morale and also increase the engagement. And as I said, it is human nature for them to be around certain group of people and to be in the company. Okay, so if you are not able to bring everyone into one location, what you can do is to make it create a virtual location where everyone can actually go in, and they feel as if they're working together. So basically, I would say that those are some of the things that I experience, because I'm also working from home, and although I have encountered a lot of motivation issues, not being able to, being an HR person, you would normally want to meet people, you would normally want to walk around, and you are a people person, but whenever you are stuck in just one location, unable to interact with the people except for through videos, and you won't even know whether everyone who's in front of you are actually listening to you. That creates a lot of anxiety, and it affects a lot of engagement issues later on. So the least the company can do is to actually to bring people together in a way where people don't feel that they are getting further and further, and losing the engagement with the company. Okay, I think that's all that I'm sharing today. Maybe if there are any questions that can be posted, I'm happy to actually provide my feedback on that. Should I pass back to Vishnu? He's being disengaged now.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Badrol, for a very, very informative discourse on the new norm. Apparently, a lot of us, inclusive of some of the members of our website, have actually learned a lot from you today. Thank you very much. It's a very interesting topic, as you mentioned, the new norm. Okay, apparently we have some questions from some of our participants today. The first question being, conducting touch-based sessions to keep everyone in check. Is it necessary, and is daily too much? How would you feel about that, sir? Conducting touch-based sessions to keep everyone in check.
Okay, first of all, conducting touch-based session for me is not an issue, but when you add to keep everyone in check, that is where you feel as if you have a class monitor checking you every day. Okay, if you have the trust in the employees. Okay. The reason I would be conducting a touch-based session is just for the benefit of everyone, to know that number one, we are moving towards the right direction together, and also knowing that if any one of us would need to have support, okay, other team members is able to actually provide. In no way a touch-based session should be seen as something to check on the employees. Okay, so that's where you start feeling as if you don't trust me. Okay, but then when you ask me a question about whether daily is too much, again it depends. Number one, it depends on what type of work or project that you're working on. If you're talking about something that only requires, in normal circumstances, it only requires a weekly update, then you should not be checking daily, because when you check daily, it will be like in progress, in progress, in progress. Or it will be no progress, no progress, because I'm waiting for someone else to do something else. So then it becomes a demotivating factor when you are part of a meeting where you don't see any movement. But actually it's not anyone's fault. Okay, so as a leader, you have to understand the situation. You do have touch base if you want to provide the support, not to check on the employees. That would be my advice.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Badrol. I hope that answers the first question. The second question being the fine line between professionalism and being casual. Working remotely, is there still a need for long emails? Can my employee take action on me if my communication is just through WhatsApp? So somebody here is very concerned if he or she does not reply in long emails or uses WhatsApp to reply to a superiors instead. What do you think, Mr. Badrul?
Okay, this is another. Actually, I would look at this as an issue from the manager not sending the right message to the employees. When I say message, is the subtle message. Normally, managers, if you are writing a long email, means that either you don't, you are not confident in the employees, or you don't train the employee enough for them to understand what you want. Okay, and writing long emails sometimes has its benefit if you have to convey a lot of messages and you do not want anything to miss, because it's very, very important. Maybe for the first time when you give an instruction or you are delegating to the employee. But then I noticed that usually whenever you have long emails, it is peppered with a lot of personal comments and assumptions and so on. It's not factual. It's not concise enough for people to really absorb and go ahead and do their job. So my advice on long emails is that before you send, you press the send button, look at that email, read it again, and if you feel that it is long enough for you to read again, then it's too long for the reader to actually accept it. And the key here is communication. You want to communicate, be it in email, be it in WhatsApp, and so on. And I know that right now in the workforce, there are generation gaps and so on. But I do have an older colleagues who prefers WhatsApp, a younger colleagues who prefers email. So let's not look at generation as the problem, but whether people understand what is communication. Okay, if they are communicating, if they are writing too long, then they are not communicating well. They are not concise enough to be a business communication. Okay, and even through WhatsApp, okay, things can be communicated, and sometimes it will be faster going through WhatsApp. The only thing that I suspect a lot of people would like to use or write long emails is that they want to use it as an evidence for future arguments, you know, to say that, okay, I've already told you this, but you did not do this and all that. I think the issue there is more on trust and communication rather than which communication channel that you use. Earlier on, I mentioned to you that, I think I shared with you, try to vary your communication channels, not use just one, because when you're working remotely, sometimes you want some variation in the way you discuss with people. So I'm not sure whether I'm answering the question, but I always believe that people who write long emails has communication issues.
Okay, thank you once again, Badrol, for the information. Okay, now we go towards the third question, which is actually very relevant and very interesting. This person just asked, a superior who texts endlessly, texts in the middle of the night, asking to handle urgent tasks. What is the employee's fight here? This is something we've all been through. Somebody who just texts us endlessly till wee hours of the morning. What do we do, Ichiban?
Maybe we can channel that to IR law to answer. But I'm not sure whether you are aware that in France, there is a law to say that you are not allowed, companies are not allowed to contact their employees after working hours. Maybe it's about time it becomes a law in Malaysia, because I think a lot of Malaysian workers getting stressful, going through a lot of mental anguish, because they're getting a lot of work-related communication outside their work hours. It's as if they don't have any work-life balance at all, you know. And also the expectation of the boss. I don't know, sometimes managers are always saying, oh, I need the information quickly. But if you don't get it at midnight, is it going to make any difference for you to get it at maybe 6 a.m. in the morning tomorrow? And another thing, if it is not important or urgent, do you expect that to be discussed in the office at those hours, you know? So for me, I always believe in work-life balance. I always believe that there has to be certain cut-off point for work-related matters, unless it's urgent. For example, no, in HR, let's say we have an employee who was stuck at the immigration at the airport, and the whole family is with him near midnight. Of course, you have to handle it. It's something urgent. But if you're just talking about, have you done the proposal for tomorrow and expect an answer? I think that is too much for a manager to ask. You know, it's as if you don't trust your employee enough that it's going to happen tomorrow. You know, so for me, one thing I think, if the question is whether that's what's the rights of the employees, of course it depends on the boss. Sometimes if you don't answer, you will be in the bad books of the boss. Okay, but I think it's not fair for me. It's not fair for managers to expect employees to answer their questions at any time of the day. You agree with me?
Yes, of course, definitely. Would I say no to you? I would agree, but it's very interesting that you said that in France they have such a law which prohibits employees from communicating, superiors to communicating with their employees after work hours. It's not bad. It's just that sometimes it's a two-way thing. Sometimes even employees may need some guidance with certain things, or they need to make preparations for the next day's work day meeting and so on. So maybe to some level, to a certain, maybe not exactly, let's say work hours 9 to 5, and then 5 o'clock exactly, we cannot communicate at all. I don't think it's too, we can't go to the extent of being so rigid, but maybe we have a leeway to 7 o'clock, up to about 1 plus minus 2 hours, you're able to communicate. After that, it's over. That I would say is really, because we've been through it as superiors or whatsoever clients, etc., vendors, clients, and so on, communicating to the wee hours of the morning. Oh my gosh! And then, so it can, yes, as you said, it can cause mental anguish to employees and vice versa. So thank you very much, Encik Badrol. We're coming very close to the end of our session. And for those out there who haven't filled out the poll question, please do so.
Mr. Vishnu, there's just one comment from Mr. Sharul Zaman. He said,
Okay.
trust issue, I believed, coupled with being skeptical over potential abuse and inability of HR to deal with the issue over privilege given the WFH. So, Mr. Badrol, can you comment any idea how they can convince their management to get their buy-in?
Okay, I think the question asks about HR being someone convincing the management to trust the employees, right? It has always been an HR role to be the middle person to ensure that the environment within the company is positive. Okay, I think if we do have trust issues, we have to start looking into why the trust issue happened in the first place. Because and usually HR will only get feedback from the managers that I don't trust these people, or even without telling you that they don't trust, whatever that they do shows that there's a distrust in it. You will have to understand that employees are not managers will have to understand that employees are not working for them. Okay, employees are actually part of the team working for the benefits of the whole organization. If there is a trust issue within the organization, regardless of whether the managers does not trust the employee or vice versa, it has to be rectified. Okay, but if the employees are, if the managers are saying that, I have to check on this person, I don't trust that this person will deliver on time and so on, you have to start questioning the managers on what type of expectation and KPIs are they giving to the employees. Are they giving a KPIs of submitting everything on time, or they're giving a KPIs that is more encompassing the final work that has to be delivered? Maybe the managers do not trust the employees because of previous experience that the employees fail to deliver. So having understanding of the underlying issues of this trust, then only you can start to tackle the problem, the root cause. Don't just go on heads on just on getting the trust issue done. Okay, tell the manager, hey, you should start trusting your people. You cannot be dictating that to the managers. You cannot be saying that to the employees as well. So HR has a very delicate role in trying to find out the root cause and try to resolve the root cause first. Try to show examples to each other of the opposing party that the reason you are not being trusted is this, and the reason now you should be trusting them because they have already shown some improvement. So having done that groundwork, I would say it would be easier for you to convince either the management or even the masses to have to get to bridge the gap in their trust.
Okay, thank you very much again, Encik Badrol, and thank you all participants. We've come towards the end of our session, and for those of you, please don't forget to reply or fill in the poll at the end of our session. We hope to see you again. We hope to even call Encik Badrol again for our future session. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for joining us. And please join us again for our next session. We will let you know. We'll email you the slides. For all of you, take care. And thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you, bro.
Okay.
I need to go for my cigarette break, bro.